Brilliant. Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out with our old friend Adam Smith, Sky's head of boxing. We're here at the press conference, or the UK press conference, to announce Anthony Joshua against Jarrell Miller, June the 1st, Madison Square Garden. I guess the first question, I don't want to start on too much of a downbeat note, is how do you feel about the AJ fight, the AJ roadshow, if you like, going over to the US, and the fight being on Sky at not the best hour for you to get people buying Sky box office, of course?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the first thing is that Anthony Joshua and us have had a long journey together. I mean, it's nearly 6 years. We've been there every step of the way, and I think at some point we knew AJ was going to leap over the other side of the pond and take on America, and I think he should do that. I think we've seen many fighters over the years do that. Ricky Hatton, Prince Nassim Hamid, Lennox Lewis obviously spring to mind, Joe Calzaghe late on in his career. Carl Froch has done it, the Road Warrior. James DeGale recently reminded us, didn't he, on the build-up to the Eubank fight about what he did. I think it's important to fight in America. So, yes, in one part of me is disappointed that we didn't have that April date at Wembley, which I think would have been great against Dillian Whyte. This is a new adventure. This is a new chapter in AJ's journey and for us as well. But it's a new chapter with Anthony Joshua. It's not one we're not used to. I mean, we've done so many fights over in America. As you know, you've covered it a long time like I have. And 20 years since Lewis Holyfield. We were there obviously for Lewis Tyson for a lot of the Bow fights. And, then Oscar De La Hoya and Roy Jones and huge amounts going forward. And, you look at the likes of sort of Mayweather Hatton and Mayweather Pacquiao, Mayweather McGregor numbers. We should have a really successful Sky Sports box office night on June the 1st. I think it's important to get an early start, to get a really good card that Eddie's putting together at the minute. And people are going to stay up because it's going to be a special event. It's Anthony's first fight in America. I think it's the chance for him to become a global superstar, already a British superstar. And I think people are going to stay up and watch him and be with him on the journey. And Jarrell Miller is a perfect first opponent in America, undefeated, a Brooklyn boy, loudmouth, not quite as loud today. Fortunately, we had that all in New York last week. He promised he'd behave, and it's the Queen's country, and he did. So we're ready to go now. We want them both in training camp, and we can't wait for June the 1st. It's a new chapter, a new story.
You alluded to the kind of attitude and approach that Jarrell Miller brings to this fight. We've also seen a spikier version, if you like, or maybe a more urban version, if you like, of AJ recently. A bit more kind of down to earth as well, perhaps, than people are used to seeing at press conferences. How important is seeing that kind of personality clash to building a fight that in the UK will be in the middle of the morning, the early hours? How important is it that they both kind of come out their shell and there's a bit of kind of pre-fight animosity?
I mean, it's all fun and games, isn't it? At the end of the day, these two are going to fight for the World Heavyweight title on June the 1st. There's a huge amount of crossover fans who love AJ, whether it's the mums or the sisters, the brothers, the nieces, the nephews. They love Anthony Joshua, and I think he's got an appeal that many fighters don't have. Ricky Hatton had it as a sort of boy next door. Lennox Lewis was our great heavyweight, but maybe didn't have the personality or the love of the country, whereas Frank Bruno had the love of the country, but maybe not quite the success. So I think AJ's got the success. He's 22-0. He's fought everyone put in front of him. Yes, he hasn't fought Tyson Fury yet. He hasn't fought Deontay Wilder. Those super fights will come. I think it's important for us to remind people that it's an Anthony Joshua fight. So I think a number of people are going to watch that. But yes, of course, a little bit of spice, a little bit of needle. The fact that it's, a New Yorker, a guy from Brooklyn who's turned up the heat, certainly words-wise, physically as well in New York. Look, I think it's good to see that Anthony Joshua, the fighter, come out sometimes. Yes, he's the gleaming ambassador with a beautiful smile and everybody loves him, but also he's a fighter. Deep down, he talked today about coming from the streets and what he had to go through, and he's dedicated and disciplined. He turned his life around. So yes, Jarrell Miller has had a hard upbringing, and he's right to talk about his story as well. But Anthony's had that, and I think we saw a bit of that with Dillian Whyte. You got it out of him a few years ago. I think there's been a huge amount of respect for all the opponents he's had since, the likes of Parker and Povetkin and Klitschko. He doesn't like Jarrell Miller much. He doesn't like what he said about him, and I think that, it did get to him, certainly in New York. I think he was a lot more composed today. Jarrell was more composed. I think we've had our fun, our needle in New York, and I think now we can get onto training camp and concentrate on the business ahead, which is they're fighting for the World Heavyweight title, Danny, and that's the biggest prize in sport. And with the whole Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder situation, it's the one fight we know is happening on June the 1st, so we've got to get excited about it.